everybody. It's time to LOL. Listen out loud, that is. It's time for Anime Jam Session with DJ Ranma S., Mako-chan, and Ari Rockefeller.
Hey everybody, welcome to Anime Jam Session, episode number 678. We are that podcast talks about anime, games, conventions, the fandom, geek stuff, and everything in between. I'm DJ Ranma S.
And I am Mako-chan.
Ari is off tonight. I think he's doing a mid-shift or overnight shift, but he will be back with us next week. So, Mako-chan, how are you feeling tonight?
Very tired.
I get that. I'm feeling a little back and forth, but I am enjoying the weather for the most part.
Yeah, it's supposed to get warmer from here on out.
Honestly, I'd rather it didn't because I'm just enjoying this weather for what it is, okay? So, but I know...
Yeah, I definitely agree. This has actually been a really good spring. It hasn't been crazy hot. I haven't had to turn the AC on yet. Well, except in the living room.
Well, yeah.
But I haven't needed it overnight or anything like that. And I think that's about to end.
Yeah. I mean, I got the fan in the window. I've had it blowing for like 2 days until the weather changed. So what I do is I set it for night mode where it just runs on the lowest setting. But there's been a couple of days where it's been a little bit windy. And then I just, you know what? I just turn it off and just let the wind just circulate and so forth. So I kind of do that for the time being. But, I mean, if this room was a little bit bigger, I probably would have I probably would have ordered that damn air conditioner I saw. But, it is what it is. So, anywho, I was keeping a tab on the rundown here so that any commercials come through, I could just skip past it or tell it to postpone. But I apologize if you got a commercial or something like that. But anywho, we are live tonight, week of June 17th, 2025, right here on Twitch TV. We're here live Tuesdays from 9 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern. You always find us at Twitch TV/Anime Jam Session. We're also proud to be part of the Voice of Geeks Network at vognetwork.com. And they're also here on Twitch. You can find them at Twitch TV/VogNetwork. They kick things off Sunday at 8 p.m. with the Bobby Blackwolf Show, followed by Orange Lounge Radio at 9. So just so you know, there is a programming note. There will not be any Orange Lounge Radio this Sunday. I believe. Yeah, there will be none this Sunday. Rob will be out of town at Southern Fried Gaming Expo in Atlanta, Georgia. The squad will be back on the 29th. Also, to everybody, happy Pride. But then, but then again, if you've been watching this show for like the last couple of years, up in the upper right-hand corner, we keep the Pride flag. And during our intro, we keep the Pride flag there because why not? It's plenty of space where we also keep it all year round. And people gonna hate, fuck them. So, enough about that. Let's move things along. Mako-chan, how was your week? How was your day?
Not horrible. Just trying to keep in the swing of things of working from home. Obviously this weekend we went to a convention, which I guess we'll get into later. But yeah, that's really about it.
All right. I will have to say basically the same thing. Work's been pretty good. I'm still annoyed about a couple of things that happened, but it's out of my control, so I'm just dealing with it. So, but it's not the end of the world. So, but yeah. Also, we went to a convention. We'll be talking about that later on in the show. Other than that, life's been lifing. That's honestly the best way I can say it. Life has been lifing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Boy. All right, I'm trying to fix something here real quick. So, my friend Ari got back to me about her Fans View Fridays. So, at least I now have a bit of a schedule as to when the next ones are going up. That is perfect. So, we got that out the way. Let's go ahead and get into some housekeeping notes here. All right, rundown. Will you do the honors for us, please? Please. With a little bit of cherry on top. I'm going to have to force it this time around. And there we go. So, anywho, wanted to let you all know that the podcast VODs are available on our YouTube page, youtube.com/anime jam session. If you're already subscribed to our podcast through there, awesome. Thank you ever so much. And I believe if you do subscribe through YouTube, you can watch the video podcast instead. So you have a couple of great options there. Episodes are available Thursdays at 12 p.m. In the event that episodes are not there, that means I forgot, and that means it should be up between 6 and 8 p.m. that night. And our friend, my friend Ari, aka Wisteria VT for VTuber, she does Fans View Friday, where she goes into the Internet Archive and pulls up a convention covered by the late great Kevin Lillard and discusses the convention and goes through the photos. Normally she does it on Fridays, but lately her Fridays have been busy due to convention coverage that she does and other things. But we can let you know that she will be back at it next week. June 27th, she will be discussing Otakon 2000. I'm trying to remember if I was at that convention or that's one of the years I skipped Otakon. Not sure. Actually, no. Yeah, I was at Otakon 2000, yes, because I believe my first Otakon was Otakon 99, I believe. Something like that. No? My first Otakon was Otakon 2003. That's correct. 2003. I think by that time I discovered there's more than one convention and my wallet was like, oh no. All right, next up we're going to talk about is Geek Roundtable. This is where we talk more about the geekier aspects of our lives and stuff that we have been up to. So, and for those and if you're watching the feed, you basically already know what Mako-chan is showing off, but she will describe it for those of you who are listening. So take it away, you Gundam Wing fangirl, you.
Yes. So, a little while back, I was able to go to a convention and get a signature on an old set of Gundam Wing cards that I have for Hirayui. Well, this weekend at the convention, I was able to meet up with Brian Drummond and get myself a signed card for Zex Marquis. Very, very happy about this. Obviously, the card that is on there is from later in the season when he was working for the Preventers. So, yeah. So this is Preventer Wind and not necessarily a Zex card, but same difference. And yeah.
Same anime?
I'm very, very happy.
And same anime, correct?
Yes.
And that's all that really matters. Because what would you rather he signed? A card with his helmet on or the card with his locks?
Well, either way, it could have been a card with his locks, but either way, it would have worked. Seriously.
What if there was a picture of Zex holding the bottle of wild turkey?
I have that picture, and I would not mind that picture being signed.
I think the next time Brian Drummond is at a con, you should ask him if he would sign it.
I mean, as long as it's professionally done, it is, an artist's work. It's not AI or anything
well,
like that.
Well, that is true. But, there are some voice actors, they won't sign certain things, which I totally get.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, like I said, I have tons of figures and stuff. I may start showing them off until I put them all in storage. But for now, I've been watching anime. I've caught up with Rock is a lady's not soul. Let me look this up real quick. Rock is modesty. Yeah. Rock is a lady's modesty. I started watching that. I am basically all caught up. I'm on episode 11, and I thought that that jellyfish doesn't swim at night anime was deep. Oh, this one gets really deep. I like the fact that we've gotten past the quote unquote cutesy anime idol rock band anime genre. I'm talking Love Live, Bang Dream, K-On, D4DJ, you know? But now we're seeing more of the behind the scenes, like the drama and the emotions that cause the band to do the things that they do. Yes, in some of these animes I've mentioned, they do come up, but it's not, they don't make it into a big deal or anything like that. And from my understanding, the new series Love Live Bluebird, yeah, it's going to push, but it's going to push the envelope. So I'm looking forward to that. Try me, Bushiroad. Try me. And I'm back on. I started watching Berserk of Gluttony. My original plan was to find another anime from my backlog and continue watching, but I stumbled across this and I started watching. I'm on episode 5. And in case I didn't mention, I did finish ReZero, and I'm more than believe the fact that ReZero is basically the Dragon Ball Z of isekai. All they do is talk shit half the time and then pre-plan all their attacks back and forth, and it's just like, well, one of you just fight or die already? And in this one, the main character, he is in no hurry to go back home, which is kind of interesting because most of these isekais, the main character is trying to get back to where they were before. So that's my geek roundtable. So now, next up, we're going to talk about a convention that we went to. We won't take too much time because we were only there for a day, but it was still a fun convention nonetheless. So we are going to talk about KamehaCon 6. Now, it was this past weekend at the Atlantic City Convention Center, and the dates on that was June 13th to the 15th. Now, normally, you're like, wait, why does those dates kind of sound familiar? Yeah, because those are usually Anime Next's dates. Because usually Anime Next is Father's Day weekend or the weekend before or after, usually around there. And because of all the drama, the hubbubaloo, and the supposed money laundering, the con no longer exists. So another con took its place. Now, we originally planned to go for a day, and I can tell you this. With the sheer number of conventions that are out there, a lot of conventions kind of move towards like a multi-genre con. Like do anime, comics, medieval, RPG, all that type of stuff. Another thing that's getting popular is the themed convention. Like we've seen, like there are Doctor Who conventions that happen every year. And then the big popular for about 10 years, the My Little Pony conventions. Most of them have kind of stopped, but there's still a couple that are still running around. And then you have a themed con like RetroCon, which celebrates classic TV shows and movies and cartoons from like the 60s to the 80s and 90s. I can't believe I just said 90s. Fuck, I'm old. So, for this one, KamehaCon, it's a 6th year. The first 5 years were in, I believe, Dallas, Texas. It's a Dragon Ball Z themed convention. So it decided to make its way to the East Coast, and I thought that was really great. Now, I will straight out say this, and I've said this on my socials. Only issue that I had with the convention was the fact that it felt like a glorified flea market. When you walk, I assumed that it was going to be 3 days It's going to be all over the county, the convention center. It's going to be balling. It was semi-balling. Everything was in one of the halls. And when you walked in, they had 2 stages, the main event stage and the panel stage. But as you walked in, right around the walls were basically all of the voice actors that were guests. And right in the middle were your dealer's hall, your artist alley, and your gaming area. Now, I didn't know what to expect in terms of numbers. But I can tell you this right now. That Saturday, it had to be at least less than 1,000 people.
Yeah, it was a very small turnout.
Yes. Some have said that Kamehacon really didn't advertise enough, which I can kind of understand. Because I knew about the con because a friend of ours, guest of the show, was a guest there, so that's how we knew. I mean, even Contropolis and Collecticon did a better job. I mean, you ain't got to advertise on the subways or something like that, but you could get some Facebook advertising or some Twitter advertising. I'm still going at Twitter. I don't give a damn. Or Instagram, there are ways. I mean, you ain't got to advertise on TV, but there are ways. So, on the plus side, if you are one of those people who likes to collect autographs, you could have gotten all of your autographs that day.
Yeah, there was no line for most of the people that were giving out autographs. And there were a lot of people giving out autographs.
Yep. I think the only major line was for Ryo Horikawa.
Which, obvi.
Hmm?
I said, which, obvi.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. But, I will say, I like the fact that it was a small convention. I was also surprised at seeing non-Dragon Ball Z cosplays, but again, even though it's a themed convention, it still goes under the aspect of any reason to cosplay. I don't have nothing against it. I was just a little surprised. I just figured everybody would do Dragon Ball Z or DBZ themed cosplays or something like that,
Well, I know that some of them were cosplaying other characters that the voice actors have done.
Yeah, that is true.
However, some of them were cosplaying stuff that none of them were part of.
Give an example. Got an example of that?
Sailor Moon?
Oh, there you go. I just wanted to make sure. Now, what was the name of... I know in the Funimation dub, they were called the Spice Boys. But, the group that went after Krillin and Gohan when they was trying to get the Namekian Dragon Balls. I forget that group, but it would have been cool to see them like the Sailor Senshi wearing the Saiyan armor. That would have been kind of cool. A mashup like that. I've seen it before, but still, I think that would have been kind of cool.
Wait, are you talking like when they were on Namek?
I think so, yeah.
So the Ginyu Force.
Thank you. Yes, Ginyu Force. Yep. The Ginyu Force. Yes. It would have been cool to see like the Ginyu Senshi Force or something like that.
I mean, yeah, something like that would have been cool.
So outside of Dragon Ball Z, I mean, when it comes to Toriyama's work, one of my friends did cosplay Arale on Friday, which was cool. There was a lot of Bulmas. I'm kind of surprised. I would have been nice to see some Dragon Quest cosplays. That would have been nice. Or Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger, because remember, Akira Toriyama did do the designs for those characters. So that would have been kind of cool. Sort of like a tribute to Toriyama. But outside of that, there was Dragon Ball Z. No, what was it? There was Sailor Moon, Kakegurui. There was One Piece, which there's always that rivalry, and a couple of other titles. It was, I mean, again, I wasn't. I was happy to see that. I thought it was really cool. There's something outside of it. Now, on the panel stage, there was some panels going on. There was this one guy who was telling jokes about being black and a Dragon Ball Z fan. And I'm looking at him like, you, sir, are not funny. Please get off the stage. But the guy after him was much funnier, though.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. It was like, what, maybe 6 or 7 people that went up, did 10 minutes of a comedy routine. But it was drowned out because they had 2 stages going at the same time for part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was 2 stages that are less than 50 feet away from each other.
Yeah, again, this goes back to the aspect of everything in one room, and it's like a glorified flea market. Because outside of the hall, there are nice acoustics, but there are nice backgrounds and stuff for photos and stuff. And when I was going out to the car to switch stuff out, I didn't see a lot of people go out there. It would have been nice to have one hall for the autographs and the dealers and all of that, and another hall, 2 smaller halls split in 2 for panel rooms and a main events room. That would have been cool. And I think they could have done it. And another issue, maybe, fine, I have 2 issues with the con. The fact that the official con hotels weren't one of them was not the Sheraton, which is literally across the street. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine who staffed the convention, basically said one of the reasons why they may have done it is so that con goers do not bother the guests, since all of the guests are in that hotel. Makes sense. But I do know that a bunch of con goers did book that room, did book the Sheraton, which makes sense to me. I mean, yes, you have been paying regular hotel prices, but less than a 10-minute walk across the street to the convention center as opposed to a 20-minute walk or waiting on the jitney. I totally get it. The costume contest, it was basically a throwback to original how costume contest used to be. You get up on stage, you show it off, you say a few things, and you keep going. Wasn't really in the way of skits or anything like that. One of the voice actors, one of the guests was actually the MC, and she was basically convincing people to get up on stage and compete because they didn't really have anybody out there. I think it was like a total of 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to record the masquerade, but I just felt like I just wasn't feeling it. But I did get a lot of good pictures, that's for sure. So overall, I enjoyed it. If I were to go back next year, I would most likely will day trip it again. But if it's only going to be in one hall, I'm probably going to decline going. Unless there are different guests that I know that's going to be there. And again, it's not just the cons, it's the friends that you hang out with. One of the benefits of this, there was an after party. We didn't go, but you can always go down to the boardwalk and have fun because there's more food and stuff like that. Also, this con didn't have to be in the convention center. It could have been in one of the hotels, like the Showboat. The Showboat, everything could have been all up on the 2nd floor. They have tons of executive rooms and panel rooms there, and BB King's Blues Bar and Blues. That's main events where the stage is. They could have done that. Because I think that would have been a lot more fun. Everybody's all right there. So, I'm hoping the people that run Kamehacon hear this or take in some advice from other con goers and maybe try something different for next year. I can say, one of my friends who went to a couple of prior Kamehacons felt that she got ripped off because she got the VIP badges and it just felt like you didn't get nothing for your money. And I get it with a lot of cons.
In Atlantic City.
Say what now?
The convention usually isn't in Atlantic City. It's usually in Dallas.
Right. But I'm just saying, if you pay for a VIP ticket and you're getting the same benefits as somebody who did not get a VIP ticket, don't you think you gotten ripped off?
Depends on what the VIP ticket is for.
All right, you pay an extra 15, $20, you get in an hour earlier.
Okay, if that's all you're getting, then yes, you got ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
If that VIP includes, a set number of autographs or extra swag or anything like that, then that's what that money is going towards.
Yeah.
Not really you getting to go in early.
No, that I completely understand. But from what was told to me, that's all it was. I'm just saying $35 for a day. Okay. 15 I'm just saying if I paid $60 for a 1-day badge and I get in an hour early and I get a special commemorative t-shirt and an autograph of my choosing outside of the guest of honor, I think I got my money's worth on that.
I definitely agree with that.
Mm-hmm. So, Mark, I know I took up the bulk of this, but what's your thoughts? What's your take on Kamea Con 6?
I definitely would like to see it in a different venue.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, there are plenty of places in that area that could have been used that were not.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, I mean, most of the stuff was in Hall B. I think they had one other room or two other rooms open, but like there was nothing really mentioned on what was going on in those rooms.
Yeah, I remember that, but I didn't leave because this is where everybody was.
Yeah, so I don't really know.
Yeah, VIP hours on Friday, you get in a half hour earlier. Yeah, that's all it was. Half hour earlier across the board.
And you pay that seems like that is a ripoff. But I never would have paid for VIP just to get in a half hour early on the 3 days. So that just seems silly to me.
What was crazy was they didn't have any Friday passes either. You either bought a Saturday or Sunday, or a 2-day pass, or a 3-day weekend pass.
Well, I think Friday was supposed to be more of like a day zero kind of thing.
But I think they actually said the con started on Friday, on the 13th. So it really can't say it's a day zero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm looking here. They already took the prices down because the event is sold out. They have the Prince of All Saiyans pass, and there is a badge just for Ryo Horikawa's autograph. Okay, and then you get the premium pass, which is a 3-day weekend, and the ultra instant. I really wish I could have seen the prices for that. I really wish I could have. Join the only and all Dragon Ball convention in the world. It would have been nice to been like see other people. I think the furthest people traveled was like Miami and Alaska. Anyhow. Again, I will be quite careful if I decide to go back I mean, they didn't have anything for freaking media. I was like, wow, gotta. And I'm on the website trying to find the like the like the layout and stuff. I'm like, I don't even see that. That's probably already got taken down. Lovely. All right. I think we spoke enough about that. Mako-chan, kick us off with tonight's first story.
So, yeah, so we all know that France really, really, really likes its anime.
Mm-hmm.
So it was reported that the French production and distribution company, uh, Mugostu Anim, has acquired the rights to produce an animated work based on Space Adventure Cobra, both the manga and the anime franchise. It was initially announced at the Annecy International Animation Film Festival and Market on Friday. Um, so the company was founded in 2020 in Paris, uh, distributed the anime Grendenzier U
I've heard of that.
July 2024. Um, Cobra was originally in Shueisha's Weekly Shonen Jump between 1978 and 1984. The manga follows Cobra, a man who can turn his left arm into a gun and who is on the run from authorities and nefarious forces due to his mysterious past. The manga was adapted into a 31 episode television anime and film in 1982. The movie opened July 1982, 3 months before the television series premiered. A sequel manga called Cobra Over the Rainbow was launched on November 2019. And then unfortunately, the mangaka died in September of 2023. Various companies have owned the streaming rights, the TV rights, the DVD rights, but it does currently look like it is streaming on Retro Crush as of 2023. And it looks like Discotek Media has the anime film and the television anime on Blu-ray.
Mm.
So yeah, they are also the French game studio Microids will be releasing Magic Pocket Space Adventure Cobra: The Awakening side-scrolling game. This is going to be coming out for PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox XS, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. That will be coming out August 26th.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna pick that up. I have enough like points I can redeem to pick for the game to pick it up.
Yeah, so congrats to the French for picking up more old anime and getting that shit out there.
Viva la Revolution. Okay, so it's on Kamea-Con's Facebook page where they tell you the location. Yes, they says it'll be held in Hall B, even though they have rooms 201 and 202 highlighted. I have a feeling those were the original intended panel rooms.
Mm.
And it looks like there is a hall right next to Hall B, and honestly, they could have fit it all in there. and then use 201, 202. Everything would have been in that tight little corner. It would have been cool. So, but, so what we had to say. I'm more or less for the most part, I'm good. So, we're going to continue to talk about one of the things that we do like to talk about on this show about piracy and C&Ds and all of that. It seems that a piracy site removes their titles due to C&Ds. And those of you who don't know, C&D stands for cease and desist. Now, before all of this, there was always like a general rule of thumb with fan subbers. If a title was licensed, they would stop subtitling it, pull the titles, and move on to something else. Yes, it's still piracy, but it was sort of like, and for some people say it was a gray area. They have at least they had some type of honor code, more or less. But anywho, it seems that Enryu Manga, an unauthorized webcomic hosting site, has removed all of the Webtoon content after getting a C&D from Webtoon Entertainment. In a statement posted on its homepage, Enryu Manga confirmed the takedown and cited the safety of our team members and the most mature course as reasons for complying with the request. The site encouraged users to read on official platforms such as Webtoon and Wattpad and noted plans to begin hosting Kakao titles in the future. Webtoon Entertainment stated that the removal is part of a broader anti-piracy initiative, which includes legal enforcement and proprietary technology. The company's AI-powered system, Toon Radar, is designed to proactively detect and delay the spread of pirated content. According to Webtoon, the program has contributed to a 93% takedown rate of illegal comic hosting sites in South Korea, and which also has a 76 globally between 2017 and June of 2024. The Enryu Manga takedown is the latest development in Webtoon's ongoing efforts to limit unauthorized distribution of its content. The company said it remains focused on protecting the creators' rights while exploring technological solutions to address piracy across markets. A separate site called Reaper Scans shut down last month after the platform received a C&D from Kakao Entertainment, the parent company of Tapas. Here's the thing that I always found very clownish of sites that host fan subs and scanlations. They always say if you like what you read or you like what you watch, support it on official platforms. Most people aren't going to do that because they find it's easier to go to your site and get it for free. Or they don't have to wait a week for an episode or something like that because they're on the free plan or something like that. It's cray. Anywho, Mako John, what's this about Yorodin Samurai Troopers getting a sequel? Holy crap.
Yeah, I was very excited to hear about this one.
Mm-hmm.
So it has been 40 years since the anime Armor Legend Samurai Trooper, also known as Ronin Warriors, was first released. The series also inspired 3 OVAs and 2 manga, and next year we will be getting an official sequel. So the sequel is going to be titled Yoroi Shin Den Samurai Troopers, setting it apart, it seems, from the manga of Shin Yoriden Samurai Troopers. Along with this surprise announcement, there was a teaser trailer and visuals showing epic samurai action in the modern day. So it does look like it is a new group of characters. Or at least, that's what it seems so far. Our new hero is named Guy. He is in the traditional red samurai armor. So yeah, it is scheduled for a January 26th premiere.
I like that.
I'm very excited. This is one of those series that, I'm it's one of the first series I got into.
Mm.
Seeing as how it's nearly 40 years old.
Look, I will say this. I saw this I think I saw this today on Facebook Reels or last night. It was somebody was watching. They were watching Sailor Moon, and he goes, "I decided to do a rewatch of Sailor Moon." As I'm watching the episodes, I realized something. I did it flips to Samurai Troopers or Ronin Warriors, and he goes, "Ronin Warriors is Sailor Moon for boys." And I actually thought about that. I'm like, oh, it's not wrong.
I guess. I always saw it as a play on Power Rangers.
Well, here's the thing. I also believe it's the play on Power Rangers because you have a 5-person team. It's more or less the same thing, except that they don't have a giant mecha to jump into. But I guess it's more of the transformation sequence that they wear the armor and fight and stuff like that.
Hmm.
If
you are interested, you can actually see the original on Crunchyroll.
And that's what I need to do. Now, here's the question. Now, I wonder if Crunchyroll, they said they have the original. I wonder if they have the dub on there too. Because here's something interesting. Crunchyroll has Samurai Pizza Cats. Now, if you flip to the Japanese version, it's not Samurai Pizza Cats. It's Nyenden Kanti. It's the Japanese version, subtitles, the whole 9 yards. So I wonder if you watch Samurai Troopers in Japanese and if there's an English language dialogue, will it flip everything over to Ronin Warriors? That's what I'm curious about.
Well, considering I look up Ronin Warriors on Crunchyroll and I don't get shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it is under Samurai Troopers.
Okay. I just told someone about this, and they just got all excited about it. So paying the good word forward. So next up, this is something that both of us are excited about. Oh, those good for nothing angels running around, not doing what they're told, giving me agita. Give me my antacid. On better days, I could do a better Garterbelt. So we're talking about new Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt. And I've had to explain to somebody, this is probably not a sequel. This is probably a standalone. Because Trigger never said this was a sequel. But here's the cool part about this. The wait is basically almost over. We're getting it July 9th. So it's going to premiere on Japanese TV stations on July 9th at 2500 Japanese Standard Time, which is 1 a.m.? Yes, 1 a.m., which is July 10th at 1 a.m. Never known it to go to 25, but whatever. If you go on the official website, which is newpsg.com/news/202-50616_02.html or just newpsg.com, there is an updated trailer and key visuals. So, another thing on top of that, if you are going to Anime Expo, you get to check out the world premiere on July 4th. I guess it's only fair since, Anime NYC had the world premiere of Ranma 1/2, so. And I'm hoping to see a lot of Panty and Stocking cosplayers and Garterbelt as well. I can't wait. And on top of that, if you're wondering how do you watch it, oh, Amazon Prime Video. You can watch the original on Crunchyroll, and you can watch the new series on Prime Video. And as of right now, it's just the subtitled. I do not know if there will be a dub track available. I hope there is, because I'd love to see Monica Rial and Jamie Markey come back. But I don't know. And maybe Chris Sabat. I didn't have a problem with him as Garterbelt, but things have changed, so they might find a black voice actor to do Garterbelt for this.
I couldn't get into the English dub.
I enjoyed both.
Yeah, I didn't like the way that they ended up going with the voice for Stocking.
I think that was Monica Rial.
Yeah,
I've always been a fan of hers. She's good people's.
Yeah, she's definitely good, and she did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way that the director and all
Gotcha.
of that decided to go with like the tone of voice and the pitch that I didn't like.
Now, I get that because it's like I think she. Let's see, what was that damn anime? I couldn't watch 2 episodes of it because her shrill Japanese voice got on my last nerve. Uzaki-chan. I believe I couldn't watch the subtitle because her voice was it got on my nerves. But I think Monica Rial did the dub and it was actually really good. So I was okay with that. So the synopsis for New Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt is a hyper crazy battle action human comedy drama starring the bitch Angel sisters on a rampage. In Daiten City, a realm between heaven and hell, sinister spirits known as ghosts prowl the streets feeding on human desires and resentment. Yet, in the darkest moments, 2 figures emerge to obliterate these vengeful beings with a divine light beyond human understanding. Their names? Panty and Stocking. These fallen angel sisters have been tasked with purging the darkness engulfing the earth. But who are they really? Are they truly messengers of God or agents of the devil? And I know there is one thing on your mind about this series, Mako-chan.
What's that?
Demon Angel Stocking.
Exactly.
See, you want to know what they're going to do. If you know.
Yeah, I want to know if they're even going to say anything about it or do anything about it.
Well, again, they said that they're saying this is basically a new series, so it could be a reboot of the original where it could come in somewhere in there somewhere. Hell, the Angel sisters have brothers now, so that's wild.
Sorry, I'm listening to the very loud bugs trying to get into my house.
Are they making noise? Kind of making music type? What was that?
I said very much so, and they're very large.
You might want to get a big old can of bug spray.
Once I turn the light off, they'll go away.
Ah, even better. All right. Next up, this story was not edited, but it was updated since I first saw it. So, Megumi Hayashibara kind of put her foot in her mouth about issues in Japan that made it go viral. And I will say this, reading the original blog post, I kind of agree with her. All right, Mako-chan, it's all you.
Well, do you want to grab this one and then I'll grab the last one?
Okay. I could do that. So Megumi Hayashibara has a blog on Amiiblo, and she and there was a comment about invasive species that was made that she deleted. So basically, what happened was she sparked an online debate earlier this week on her blog post. The Tokyo native, who's well known for her role as Rei Ayanami in Neon Genesis Evangelion, but if you ask some of the other fans around here, she's better more known as Lena Inverse from Slayers and girl type Ranma from Ranma One Half. And also Musashi or Jessie from Pokemon. She made a blog post called Indifference, Ignorance, and Not Knowing, and it went viral. The comment that drew the most attention regarded international students receiving subsidies and foreign tourists behaving badly. Referring to the latter, she used a metaphor of a Japanese crayfish being overwhelmed by an invasive species, which she later deleted. Now, this is what she wrote on there. Some international students receive subsidies for free, whereas Japanese students need to take out a student loan, which must be paid back, leading to debt. The truth is being twisted. Don't leave it up to others. You must vote. We're at a point where just saying whatever or it won't change doesn't cut it anymore. If things continue as they are, Japanese unique qualities such as our manners, our attitudes, and our technology, possibly even anime as a form of freedom of expression, will be lost. In the midst of all of this, there are some people staying at vacation rentals with no manners, foreign tourists who don't know how it means to yield, and even those who go as far as to remove bamboo trees from Kyoto. If we don't have regulations that are properly enforced, it could become dangerous. It will be like how Japanese crayfish were instantly devoured by an invasive species. For example, the Japanese rule of lining up to buy things could end up disappearing. Hayashibara went on to say that she wasn't trying to criticize any specific country. She just feels that the tax money should go to the people who pay the taxes here, including foreign residents, as well as disaster-hit areas to students who are supporting the country. The original blog post included a section about discussing South Korean politics, which was later edited out after a Korean friend of hers contacted her to say that her comments could inadvertently fuel political divisions. So basically, she feels that Japan is losing its grace, its luster, and Japan is too busy courting foreigners and tourists in while ignoring the native people. To be fair, a lot of countries do that, this country included. While there have been several comments online criticizing her blog, including one Twitter user who described it as hate speech, many agree with her views. The behavior of many international tourists is really bad. She's not wrong to call out the problem, one person said. Another said that Japanese crayfish was a metaphor for how traditional Japanese culture is being overwhelmed by outside influences. This is supported by the following line about the decline of unspoken rule of lining up. On Wednesday, Hayashibara deleted the line about the crayfish. Part of the way I expressed myself was deemed too extreme, so I removed it. I used it to illustrate the kind of person mentioned above, but it has hurt people who are not involved. I will learn. Thank you for letting me know. Now, I will connect this. Before I went to Japan, I was talking to a couple of friends of mine. They were telling me about some of the issues that were going on, and I had read a few articles about tourists acting out of their ass. I've seen videos of it, and that bothers me. You're in another country. Respect the rules, the regulations, and the culture. Don't expect you to go to Japan and be fluent. I do expect you, when you go, to at least try. Arigato is something simple you can say. EA, something simple. Domo arigato. And sometimes when you try, the people there will help you, especially if you're in the konbinis. Yes, there is English in various places, but also understand English is a second language to Japanese, whereas for us, Japanese is a second language to us. So you gotta meet in the middle one way or another. Yeah, you may be on the subway and people are running their mouth and talking and stuff. Japanese stuff, it's not like that. Your music and you say nothing. You just be very quiet, you know? Don't come in there blasting your radio and this or that. When you are in near shrines and so, respect the rules of the shrines. If you know how to do the prayer, you do that. That's basically what she's saying. And again, I understand where she's coming from. I would say if you have not been to Japan, take some time to kind of read up on some of the culture and some of the respect, the traditions and so forth. So you have a general idea of what's going on. And always be very thankful and say everything you say and do and you buy, you know, it's a little act of kindness goes a long way.
In the immortal words, just don't be a dick.
Exactly. And by the way, if you happen to...
You're a guest in the country.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And also, you might be gaijin seated. And gaijins, and I think I discussed this, I explained this on last week's show. Gaijin seated means they won't sit next to you on trains and buses. They'll sit one away from you. And if you've been living in New York City for as long as I have, you don't want anybody sitting next to you, so it doesn't matter. Anywho, we're going to get into our last story of the night, and we'll get into Meanwhile in Japan.
Yeah, so it was revealed just this past Monday that Wit Studio will be producing a short anime series for Google Play. It's going to be titled Google Play De Chomuso Tensei Shiatara Android User Data, or Becoming Overpowered with Google Play, Reincarnated as an Android User. So it is going to be a 15-second episode every week until July 1st for a total of 6 episodes. The first episode is currently available. It centers on a gamer protagonist who one day wakes up and finds himself in Google Play World, where skill in games are highly valued. He soon acquires an Android smartphone and attracts the ire of other gamers. So yeah, it seems like it's gonna be just this really cute little, you know, basically commercial type thing. Commercial with a story. Which just seems to be cute as hell. It actually has a theme song by Eve called Insomnia. So yeah, you can actually grab it on Google Play's YouTube channel, which Google Play has a YouTube channel.
Well, I'm not surprised.
But yeah, if you want to see, you know, this little anime, then check out the Google Play YouTube.
Me personally, I may have to do that.
It's 15 seconds. Why not?
There you go.
I'm just amused that frickin' Wit is doing it.
Why do you say that?
Well, I would figure that something like that's just gonna be 6 15-second little commercial episodes would be done by a smaller company.
Well, maybe they undercut everybody else.
Or maybe they just wanted something with, you know, decent quality.
That too.
Who knows?
All right, and now we're at the part of the show that y'all really like to stick around for and get all nosy about. Meanwhile in Japan. So we have 2 stories we're going to discuss. And let's see. You know what? I'ma take the first one.
All right. I'm going to take the second one.
I had a feeling. All right. So our first story tells the story of a Indian man in Japan arrested on charges of using curry spices as a weapon in a robbery attempt. Oh, that was kind of loud. Maybe I think I turned the volume down on the wrong one. This one. Yep, there we go. There we go. Spicy tactics used in an attempt of theft over 7 million yen, police say, which is about $600,000. In many societies, food is one of the fist touch points people have with foreign cultures. And so in Japan, mentions of India will always bring to mind the thoughts of curry and other aromatic examples of Indian cuisine. So it's both startling and yet also sort of within imagination that an Indian resident of Japan has been arrested on charges in which the weapon used was cooking spices. Around 3:20 in the afternoon on March 14th, a 52-year-old Japanese man was walking on the street in the town of Yoshikawa, Saitama Prefecture, when he was approached by a group of 4 Indian and Nepalese men who, according to the Saitama Prefectural Police, attempted to steal the business bag he was carrying. Rather than brandish a knife, baseball bat, or any other melee weapons used by criminals in a firearm-strict Japan, the attackers instead smeared powdered cooking spices of the sort used in curry, according to the reports, on the man's face and his eyes. They did this to make an attempt to blind him and incapacitate him. But the victim was able to fight back, hanging onto his bag and yelling loudly until the attacker gave up and fled the scene. Now, one thing I discovered on my trip, that when it comes to the police in Japan, basically there is a mini precinct like every 6 to 8 blocks. And I'll tell you a little more about that in just a bit. It was a pretty brazen plan, but the would-be robbers apparently had reason to think that this could be a very big score for them. The man they attacked is the president of Dispatch Worker Staffing Service Companies, which one of the attackers, a 31-year-old Indian man who lives in Ibaraki Prefecture, was an employee of at the time. On that day, the president was in Yoshikawa to make salary payments to workers dispatched by his company, and apparently makes such payments in cash, so he roughly had 7.8 million yen, which is about $54,000 in cash in his bag. Investigators believe that the attackers knew the man would have a substantial amount of money on him when he was in Yoshikawa, which is why they decided to make their move in the middle of the afternoon. The victim was taken to the hospital where he received medical treatment for conjunctivitis, inflammation of the eyes, but does not appear to have suffered permanent vision damage in the attack. The Saitama Prefectural Police, using security camera footage, have identified and arrested the 4 men they believe were involved in the attack on charges of assault and attempted robbery and bad seasoning. Now, to go back to what I said about the police, this is something that I learned while I was there. Whenever you watch those anime, and they have like the little police boxes, they're basically every 6 to 8 blocks. So if something is going on, it is not hard for an officer to arrive on duty. Also, if you ever happen to lose your phone or your wallet, it'll always be turned into the local police box. So if you are a couple of towns or a few blocks, you can go to one to buy it. You'll get it back most likely. So that's something I just wanted to share. All right, next up.
Yeah. So here's another police story. But unfortunately, the police decided that the theft of a car was not thefty enough to be involved in.
What?
Yeah. Oops. So in May, a man living in Hokkaido Prefecture came home to find that his car had disappeared. Luckily, he had a security camera set up that caught the entire incident. During the day, a man and a woman drove up to his home in a small truck crane, often known as unik in Japan. They rang the doorbell and spoke to the man's father, who was in his 90s and reportedly suffering from dementia. They told the father, "We're here to pick up the car," handed him 10,000 yen, which is $69. The father accepted the money, and the pair got to work, hoisting the car onto their truck. 30 minutes later, they had secured the car and drove away with it. When the man saw, he was shocked and appalled that people would actually take advantage of his father like that, and he reported the theft of his car to the police. However, upon telling them what happened, the police responded that they couldn't accept his story as theft based on the evidence, since the father had accepted money in exchange for the car. It would seem that it's a legal transaction rather than theft. Obviously, people hearing this were certain that there was something the police could have done, and online comments concur. But if the father isn't the owner of the car, that can't be a legal sale. Those two must have done their research to know about the old man's condition. The police should at least investigate where the car was taken so they can figure this out. Something's wrong with the law. So it's legal to buy whatever you want for however much you want from someone with dementia. If he has dementia, the sale is invalid. The police should do their job. I guess it's more like fraud, so isn't that enough for the police to do something? Unfortunately, if this was to be considered either theft or fraud, some form of intent would have to be established. Looking at the facts, it could be equally possible that two people were offered a junker for 10,000 yen by someone else, but they just made a mistake and picked up the wrong car. The father's condition put him in no position to correct their mistake, and off they went. If that's the case, they would likely give the car back right away and apologize if asked by the owner. Taking a situation like this to a more clear-cut extreme, it'd be like if you were a police officer and someone told you, "My brother stole my car." Your first instinct would probably be to at least ask if they tried to get it back before jumping right to arresting the brother for theft. Hell no. Hell no. So it would seem the police's position is that the man first attempt to get the car back before this could be considered a theft. On the other hand, it certainly doesn't seem fair that he should be tasked with playing detective and tracking down who these mysterious truck operators are. The police really ought to take at least a look into it a little bit, as the potential that a crime has been committed actually exists. That being said, maybe it is for the best that safeguards like this are in place to prevent the police from having carte blanche to investigate any way they want, on gut instinct alone, even if our guts are telling us something is definitely not right with this case. But I'm sorry, if a family member of mine stole my car, I'm not going to that family member and going, "Give me my car back." I'm going to the cops and saying, "Give me my car back."
I would too. And for the record, I had to look up the yen to dollar conversion because I got thrown off for a split second. I'm like, wait, that should be $690. But no, 10,000 yen is $69 US. Jesus Christ. The dollar to yen ratio is outlandish, okay? It's currently like 145 yen to the dollar. When I was pulling 10,000 yen, I was paying between $70 and $74. And I was perfectly okay with that. And I just found it amusing. I was telling a couple of my coworkers that I'm going to Japan with $250,000 yen. And that's $250,000. That's roughly $1,725. Actually, I think I actually took more with me. Yeah, I think I took like 260,000, somewhere around there. I think I pulled whatever. I think it was close to 1,800 after like conversion and fees and all of that. So, Anywho, I think we've come down to the wire here. So I think it's time that we wrap the show up.
I agree.
So if you like tonight's show, tell a friend. They in turn will tell another friend, and so on and so forth. We're independent bloggers, independent podcasters. So what we like and don't like, we're telling you straight up. So if you have any questions about the show, drop us a line at podcast@animejamsession.com. Again, that is podcast@animejamsession.com. We're here to believe you. And while you're at it, let me pull up the form here. Perfect. While you're at it, check out our website at animejamsession.com. On our website, you will find our weekly podcast. You'll also find anime reviews, editorials, cosplay tips and tricks, cosplay reviews, all that, and links to our YouTube page and our Facebook page for cosplay and convention coverage. All that and a lot more. And as one person says on our group here, Black Bun, so tell a friend to tell a friend, and then it's them again. Yeah, basically that's how it should be. All right, hold on, let me flip this back over. Don't tell me I just lost it. All right, there we go. Different icon, there we go. Anywho, and while you're at it, check out our podcast, which is available on podcasting sites such as Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. If you subscribe to us on YouTube, the podcast will be up on Thursday. Please follow us on our social media pages. It's Anime Jam Session on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Blue Sky. And to everybody who follows us on our YouTube pages, on our social media pages, thank you so much. We couldn't do the show without y'all. Down below is our tip jar. There are direct links to our Stream Elements, Streamlabs, and Ko-Fi pages if you're going to throw us a few dollars. You can also cheer us on with bits, or you can also sub to the channel and give out gift subs. So now I'm going to kick it over to Mako-chan for last words.
It's very warm right now, and I really need to look into actually setting up my ACs.
My last words is, it actually feels good to actually have ice cold water to drink during the podcast. There has not been any ice trays in the freezer. I actually bought some over the weekend. Well, ice makes a difference. Well, that is it. End of list. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode, brand new stories, and brand new adventures. We hope that you will be here and join us too. So, I'm Ranma.
And I am Mako-chan.
Great fight, great night. See you next week.
Good night.
Say goodnight, Mako-chan.
Good night, Mako-chan.
Perfect. Awesome. We're getting the heck up on out of here. So see you all next week.
This podcast has been a production of Anime Jam Session and AJS Productions. No fanboys and fangirls were hurt, maimed, shot, electrocuted, or pistol whipped in this episode. For now. The views, opinions, and thoughts expressed on this show do not reflect the staff or the network as a whole. But we're still right, damn it. For transcripts of this episode, start typing. Check us out at animejamsession.com and vognetwork.com for more information about us and other programming. Jamatane!